Welcome back to Got No Control podcast. I am your host, RONEK. Before I introduce my special guest today, I wanted you guys know to visit GotNoControl.com, our official website, grab some merch. It's a good way to support us and help us do what we do and bring in more conversations, more content. So make sure to visit our website, GotNoControl.com. And also, our first tour ever, On the Roll. We visited Vegas, Colorado, and now we're here in Utah. Let us know what station we hit next. And with that being said, I want to introduce my special guest today, a Utah native, Kier. How you doing today, brother?
Doing well. Doing well.
You know, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to, sit here with you today and chat a little and get into your inspiring journey and this culture that we all love, that is graffiti. It's my first time out here in Utah, and it's a little different for me. I woke up today, it was snowing, so I thought that was really cool. I got to experience that, and not that I've never been to the snow, but, I'm just not used to waking up to the snow in the winter,
For sure.
And, seen a lot of wildlife out here, see some deers, and it was cool. The whole drive up here was peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
I think for those who don't understand Salt Lake City or Utah, for the most part, it's a nice modern city, right? We're in downtown.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
They have a little bit of everything, so
They do.
don't sleep on the city. Come visit it and come check it out. It's a good drive, And another thing too, it was inspiring to drive into a city and have so much culture here, graffiti culture, like driving in here, rooftops, and graffiti is alive and striving. You got the youngsters putting in work. And it's amazing to witness, and it's amazing to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the generation keeps it going, right?
I'm amazed as well. I haven't been here for almost a decade.
Yeah.
I just recently came back in July, and just seeing how it's still thriving, still going for it. Not even more than thriving. It's they're going for something else. They're capturing things that I would have thought impossible back in the day. I'm very happy to see it.
Yeah, and shout out to all the youngsters out here in Utah that are putting it down and doing the damn thing. Shout out to every single one of you guys. It's all love. And I wanted to get into your inspiring journey today, brother.
Okay.
Where is Kier originally from, and how was it growing up for you at home?
Okay, so I'm originally from West Valley City, which is part of Salt Lake City. It's on the west side. And so just growing up, so basically, like as far as like Kier, the graffiti adventure goes, started in West Valley. And just seeing, because there's gangs around in my neighborhood, and just seeing all those crews get up, not really people hitting up their names. And then I saw one person put their name up, Brisk, Sadk, who happens to be from my same neighborhood. And just seeing that when it was just one person, but more stylized.
Yeah.
Not the blocky style graffiti with the stock tip. He actually had flares on his shit.
Yeah.
It was super cool to see. Let me get up to the mic. Excuse me. And that really inspired me. And plus, I was a skateboarder. So I was already an outsider during that time. We're talking late 80s, early 90s.
Gotcha.
And so already outsider, never accepted anything, and always skateboarding for me was always multicultural. Didn't matter about classism, things like that. And graffiti was just another thing to add in those activities.
100%.
You're on the streets.
Yeah.
You're just hit your name up, and it was just cool, man. And it was multicultural too, which I loved.
Taking a small step back, right, from my perspective, right,
Mm-hmm.
like, growing up as a kid in my environment, inside my household, I think everything that was said and happened there in my household kind of built the guy that I became today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was good or bad, or not having a parent or whatever, of anything of that nature. For you coming up in your household, was that effective for you? Like, did you have certain memories and thoughts that you could say that possibly led you to what you have become today?
I would say in certain ways, because I'm a mixed race. I'm half Costa Rican, I'm half Swiss.
Okay.
And my Swiss side was very just, I won't say strict, but kind of boring, my Latino side.
Yeah.
Fiery, and that kind of put into the rebellion in me.
Okay.
I can never be into organized sports or organized anything. I always had just a fire in me just to go out there and just express myself in my own ways. And as far as any type of structure, I think any structure that was brought to me, I had to rebel against.
Gotcha.
In certain ways. I was never down for any type of system or being told what to do, whether it be from my parents, even my homies. Even they guided me. But at the same time, I was my own mind. So.
And what do you think kind of led that mentality of kind of like, I'm going to do what's in here rather than what's in front of me?
That's a great question. It's something innate.
Okay.
It was just, I always had a fire in my belly to be just me. Don't get me wrong, I've been shy about being me through many different aspects of my life, but it always explodes just to me going out and doing even more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But I don't know, I just always had to go against the grain one way or another.
Yeah.
Even my graffiti, I remember not doing because coming up, arrows, were everywhere. I refuse to do arrows. I'll do arrows all the time now, you know what I'm saying? But I refuse to do them.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Skulls were really cool. I'd never paint skulls.
Yeah.
Now that I love painting skulls.
Gotcha.
So I've always been a rebel in one sense or other. And just always, I don't know, I always had to be a touch different from my own self. Even the way how I expressed, talked, everything is like somebody said something this way, I'm going to try to use a different word or verbiage or way of explaining myself.
Expression for me, I feel is a very impactful emotion for humanity, right? Everybody expresses himself in their own different way, right? Some guys might express themselves by working on cars, Some guys express themselves by breaking cars apart and putting them back together.
For sure.
Other guys might express themselves by being in the kitchen and cooking some amazing food, right? Mm-hmm. Those early steps of expression for you were like you were trying to maneuver, like, how am I going to express myself? How is Kier going to express himself to the world? Was that always through art?
Well, through music, because when I was young, also, when I was in my early teenage years, I went into jazz music, being a jazz guitarist, just because that was something different. And plus, I found that was like a root of a lot of things that I liked.
Yeah.
Because I was raised up on hip hop, funk, old school R&B.
Okay.
Like, I thought I was going to marry Diana Ross when I was a kid. I was so much in love, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Classic rock, of course, heavy metal. Like, Metallica is still my thing. Iron Maiden, those old school things. But so taking that and just putting all those eclectic things and figuring out my own way how to express myself in a certain way, and it never always panned out, if you will, artistically or personally, but you learn from it. Even like I used to go to hardcore shows when I was a teenager, while being involved in my head with all these different influences that I'm taking in, And I don't know if I'm answering your question, but I just like to absorb everything I can, everything that I like personally. And I'm very selective of what I like, but enjoying it and see how it can influence me to express whatever may come out,
Yeah, because music could be impactful, right?
Definitely.
And every way, whether it's good or bad, right? Like 2025, you can see how impactful music is because you can see the new generation, their way of thinking, their thought process, their expansion when it comes to actually digesting something, right? Mm-hmm. The respect that they carry. So
Yes.
you got like kids, right, that are listening to older stuff, right? Like like oldies, like you go back to like, Brenton Wood, who we just lost, or you got guys that are traditional who will listen to like traditional Mexican music or jazz or orchestra, punk, heavy metal. So I feel like music is impactful because you could definitely see who the person is by the way they act or the influence of music, right?
Right.
And then you got guys like yourself that is influenced by a little bit of everything. So you're just kind of like an open book.
I love it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, from salsa, cumbia to classical music. My favorite musician of all time is Miles Davis.
Gotcha.
I'll rock him over everybody. But at the same time, right now, all I'm rocking is 80s music. Duran Duran, you know what I'm saying? The Thompson Twins, things like that. They all have their points. They all have their moods. And it's not necessarily about the style they were doing as far as like fashion or... let me explain this better. It's about the actual instruments and the tones they're playing that really touches me,
So early on, you were definitely a creative guy, a jazz player. You listen to music, you're playing music. And at what point does artistic ventures enter your realm of lifestyle to where like, maybe I'm going to pick up a pencil, maybe I'm going to pick up a crayon, whatever it was?
Well, my older brother, ill-ass artist, my uncles and my aunts, great artists, but they were more like traditional, like realism and whatnot.
Okay.
But that wasn't what got me started. It was straight graffiti, seeing graffiti.
Yeah.
That's what really sparked me to do art.
Your early sightings of graffiti, how did that happen for you? Was it kind of like walking to the local store? Or
Honestly, just walking down the street, and then plus through the skateboarding thing, knowing people from different parts of the valley, they schooled me. Like some of the East Side cats out here, like Scare, Caro, really great artists, influential. They really put me on game about graffiti.
Gotcha.
Because I knew them before I knew Brisk, which is from my own neighborhood.
Okay. Skateboarding, I feel like is also another realm that coordinates with graffiti a lot, very heavy.
Absolutely.
Because you got a lot of guys that were skaters first, and then after. Because being a skater, you always want to get to that cool spot to skate, right?
Right.
You want to get to the stairs. You want to get to that rail. That rebellion's mind of like, I want to skate that spot and I got away.
Yeah.
Or getting chased out of a spot because you're not supposed to be skating there.
Especially back then, the late 80s, early 90s, everything was illegal back then. Yeah, there's no skate parks.
It's not like today, like you have a skate park, skate stores.
No.
Vans are all over the place. It's not like it wasn't like that
No,
back then.
definitely not. It was illegal activity back then.
Yeah, and I think that it's sort of a similarity, right? Like they're kind of cousins in a way.
They are. Being on the streets.
So how heavy were you into skating? Like were you doing tricks and trying to get sponsored type thing?
I wasn't trying to get sponsored, but yeah, definitely doing tricks. Like I had friends who were getting sponsored, and like I've skated like back in the Embarcadero when I moved. I remember when I was like 16, 17, ran away from here. My homie AT, we lived in San Francisco, so we're skating with like Javante Turner, Mike Carroll.
Okay.
God, who else? Mike York, Pat Washington. Pat Washington was heavily kicking with us back then. And just seeing all them, Embarcadero, Pier, I don't know what it's called, Pier 7, Pier something, when that just freshly opened up. And still we're tagging while we're out there.
Yeah.
And even being out there, seeing the graffiti culture with like Buku was getting up heavy.
Yeah.
Twist was a heavy influence even before I went out there. Like anything that we grabbed as far as graph coming in, we really didn't have many magazines. We didn't have many videos coming in, but San Francisco, like Dream, Twist, Buku were heavy influence. And of course, anything that we got from LA was always dope. When we got Can Control, like Mir, come on, dude. Always the king, And of course, that CBS run, all my CBS motherfuckers. What's up? And I don't know, what was the question? This is how this is gonna happen. I'm gonna ask you the question.
As far as skating, brother, right? So you start skating, you start witnessing graffiti, right?
Yeah.
But at what point do you go from a spectator to like maybe I'm gonna just right here a little bit and figure it out to where like now I'm going full force. I'm doing this.
When I started doing little tags and everything and doing throws, because I was strictly just doing throws and tags from like 15 till about 18. But I was shy because all my homies were already doing pieces, doing productions, killing it, you know? And that's about 18. I started getting off the skateboarding a little bit more. It's like, I just want to do graph.
Okay.
You know, I really want to pursue this. I really like it. I know there wasn't any future in it, really.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't care. It just felt like another passion that I had to absorb and live and go for.
And in Utah, was there any guys that you already watching kind of like getting up and you're like, damn, that guy's style is pretty dope over there?
Of course, yeah. Caro, Scare, Sledge, Igloo. Whew, man, there's a lot, actually. My homie Sarko, Mocus, Brisk, Chance. Oh, man.
So you guys had a heavy...
It was in the early 90s. Graph here was heavy, dude.
Okay.
So you had AOD crew. You had the TMs from Ogden, their tag bangers.
Yeah.
But they're still, like, their tags were sick. And then you had also, well, SADK. I don't know if I said that already. Then they all transformed to different crews and whatnot, split apart, did their things. ARS, of course. Sorry. ARS #1. And all of them influenced me, and I knew all of them. We all like grew up together, either skateboarding, tagging, or through the hardcore or the hip hop scene.
Yeah.
So we knew each other from the jump. But I was always a late bloomer. But I was always a touch younger than them.
Yeah.
But I was still a late bloomer as far as the rest of them. Because when they got into their art, they exploded, and they were dope. They were doing pieces. It took me years to learn how to do a piece, where I got the balls to do a piece. It's like, nah, I'm doing throwies. I'm climbing up here, doing a little tag.
But on the side, still trying to develop a piece to put out.
Drawing, yes. As far as drawing goes, oh, definitely. My drawings were ill, but I didn't have the confidence in my hand skills. You know what I'm saying? My can control, no, I didn't have confidence in.
Do you think that comes from watching someone being so persistent with it to where like, man, I can't go out unless I could match that type thing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Intimidation.
Okay.
Absolutely. I was intimidated.
You mentioned tag banging, bro. Was that something that was very heavy influence out here in Utah, or was it just kind of like a phase?
There's just one crew that is mainly tag banging. And it was lightweight tag banging.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And eventually they tried to get into... They joined with AOD, one of my crews. They joined up with them, like Kier and Scent turned out to be like good homies together. But it wasn't like real tag, like compared to LA, nothing. Nothing like that.
Gotcha.
Let's just say they had that type of, that style, like going for it and trying to flex on people, but they got pushed back. You know,
style to me, it's important, right? Because that's how you start differentiating yourself of what type of rider you're gonna be, right? Like what style gravitates to you more. Like for you, was it more like I'm into like wild style? Was it just bombing, throw ups, or what style really gravitated you to? Or like, damn, this is it for me.
It developed.
Yeah.
It transformed over the years. At first, it was definitely bombing style and heavy San Francisco influence. Like I said, like KR, Twist, even Reminisce, Dream, Doug One. Even though, well, more like I'd say more Twist was super, just blew my fucking mind. I could just do that screw and shade it just right. 2 colors. It's like, yeah.
Dream from San Francisco was a beast.
Dream? Oh, yeah. Oakland, actually,
He was a beast.
Yeah, amazing.
Man, I seen that stuff, bro, and I'm just like, man, this guy was
he was ahead of his time in so many different ways, rest in peace. But, yeah.
I know back in LA, bro, there were some influences, right? Like, for example, the Subway art book that came that showed a lot of New York graffiti. You had films like B Street, Wild Style, Breakin'.
Absolutely.
Were any of that stuff impactful for you coming up?
Style Wars was more than anything because it showed more of the personality.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm more into than anything is like just meeting people, getting to know them. That means more to me than, oh, this is an amazing artist.
Yeah.
Because I've been who hasn't been disappointed by their most, amazing artists they like, But I learned that as a young kid. Personality, character as a person, how you hold yourself and how they treat other people means way more to me than any type of artistry that can come out of a person.
100%. Because I feel like social media right now on the internet, you'll see a guy for what he wants you to see him as.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you'll come to him in real life and say like, "Hey, what's up, bro?"
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of look
complete
at you like,
jerks.
Yeah, like get the F away from me, or hey, I don't want to talk to you. Move.
I can't imagine, especially nowadays. Yeah. I don't even deal with that because I'm old.
Yeah.
I never go out or anything. But anytime I ran into that from any writer or anybody in whatever I was into, just whatever. You're on your own.
I just feel my personal perspective. It should be some mutual respect, because at the end of the day,
absolutely,
someone like yourself, you've been around this for so long, put in so much work, gone through so much emotion, and doubt to get to where you at today. Mm-hmm. For someone that just started like a year ago to come look at you like, "Oh, you ain't nothing," because I got a bigger following on social media. Mm-hmm. I think there should be at least some type of mutual respect. That kind of like, hey,
I think it should be mutual respect. Bottom line, treat people how you want to be treated. Golden rule.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Show respect, you'll get respect.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. Bottom line, just be a real person. Are you going home? Are you taking care of your family? Are you handling your own business? Are you cool with people?
Yeah.
If you're out there being a bully or act like you're too cool for school, get out of here.
Yeah. And
where are you going to end up at the end of the day? Just another jerk.
And then even at the end of the day, like if you give somebody respect and they don't want to give back, hey, whatever, bro, I'll catch you later.
Exactly. Doesn't matter
I
to
ain't
me.
got time for you.
Yeah, let it be. Hopefully they learn. I'm not going to like punk them or try to be like, yo, I'm this. You should be treating me this way. Why? What's the point?
Yeah.
Hopefully they learn their own lessons, because we all go through our own lessons in life. I'm not trying to down them either.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll learn how to be cool at the end of the day. If not, they'll learn in the next life,
Or you're going to learn by that one guy that's going to be like, well, boom.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're going to step out of it and be like, hey, I'm going to be cool now.
Yeah, for sure. That can happen.
You coming into this culture early on, right? You had to be very innovative, right? Because back then there wasn't much available as far as like a tool to go paint, right? Like you couldn't just walk into a store type thing.
Yeah, it was racking. Yeah, so it was all Rusto, going to Kmart predominantly, going to Kmart and racking Rusto, Krylon, then stealing the tips off the other like stove cleaners, things like that. Then eventually we got somebody had to hook up on some like New York Thins and New York Fats. And then it just all cascaded from there.
Yeah.
Then people got more connected around the nation. And so we had more tools to use. But definitely we're just, even stock tips, I'm fine using stock tips.
Yeah.
It's fine with me.
Even when it came to markers, though, did you have to be a little bit more innovative of like, I'm going to mess around with these inks? And
I never really got that heavy into that. My homie Sarko did.
Okay.
And whatnot. Like Mean Streaks, I remember when they started splicing them, getting like the double color. Then they got crazy and just started doing like up to like 6 colors in a Mean Streaks. Like, wow, you guys are crazy. But that was never really my game as far as that. I would always just use a Pilot or a Magnum or just a Mean Streak, for tagging. I never got... And just rack that shit.
Bro, from my personal experiences, when spraying the aerosol, it kind of does something, right? Like it puts you at ease. Your mind is just constantly flowing. You're having conversations within yourself to where like that line don't look good, right?
Yeah.
Or hey, I gotta move that drip, or this background color doesn't look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your mind is constantly thinking that, where it's kind of like you escape from reality and you're just in your own world.
Yeah.
What emotions do you receive, whether they're good or bad, while you're putting up a piece?
It was mostly bad. A lot of battles against myself.
Yeah.
Because I was painting with already giants. You know what I'm saying? Even though they started a few years earlier than me, they're already giants.
Yeah.
And they're still legendary to this day. You know what I'm saying? Like Caro, one of the best freight painters ever. Sledge, best freight painter ever. Scare. Erupts from here. One of the best like style masters. still legendary.
Yeah.
And I'm still on their coattails, still trying to catch up to them. What I see in my head is how I want to be.
Gotcha.
You know?
And I applaud you for that, bro, for understanding that, right? Understanding that I'm where I'm at, but I could be better. I could keep to grow. I could learn from others.
You have
rather than being in this bubble of like, I'm already where I gotta be, I'm it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can never be there.
And that's how I try to approach life in general. Like I can always learn, no matter what it is that I'm doing. There's always room to improve and room to learn.
Room to grow.
You know, it's definitely important to understand that.
Mm-hmm. I think so. It keeps it exciting.
Yeah.
Keeps it fresh for you, you know?
That's
how I feel about it.
Always being able to like, okay, I did this, but tomorrow maybe I could do this, you know, and like just growing, you know, and developing the styles and whatnot. You know, diving into styles, do you feel it's important to be able to write your name in different formats? Because I know the conversation of like, oh, that looks cool, but it's a repetitive lettering.
That's the thing. I've never had, like, for example, my man Kier.
Yeah.
He has his style, and he can do it any way he wants to, flip it any way he wants it, but that's his particular style.
Yeah.
I'm known, like my man Picture, P82, UTI, WAI, all that shit. He fucking clowned me years ago. He's like, dude, you got no style. You're just like trying to figure it out all the time.
Okay.
Which is true. I am, because I like to change things up almost every time I paint. Even tags. I got no one singular tag. Have no iconic, this is it.
Yeah.
This is me, this is my mark, this is my stamp. Never have. Because I always felt like, just like my music selection, I got to change it up.
Yeah.
I got to, you know, for me, it gets boring. As soon as I lay it down, it's already boring for me.
Yeah.
I have to do something else. Maybe use some aspects of that, develop it a little bit more, but it's always changing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that. I think that's a dope way to approach it, right?
It's all right for me, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm comfortable with it, you know.
You know, getting into the Utah culture, right? As far as graffiti out here, what do you think kind of will set you guys apart, like the Utah versus the rest of the world?
I'd say, I think that everybody has an individual style here. There's no one style. For example, I can tell where somebody's from in general.
Okay.
Well, I can't say that nowadays. Let me say about probably 10, 15 years ago, I could tell where somebody was from.
Okay.
Just how they wrote. You know, oh, it's like, oh, that's an LA motherfucker. Oh, that's a New York dude.
Yeah.
This guy's from Detroit or Houston, you know, something like that. But I think Salt Lake has always had different, unique styles. Chew, for example, always unique, always had his own thing.
Yeah.
Erupts, always different. Kerr. Everyone's just been unique in their own way. But I gotta say, what put Salt Lake on the map wasn't what I was doing. It was the freight scene, because I wasn't heavy into freights. I never have been, never will be. It's just I like street stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and but the freight scene out here has been always dominating nationwide, I think.
Gotcha. I seen a documentary that came out on Hulu. They made a documentary on Hulu regarding freight painting, and they went through Utah and they showed a lot of stuff on there. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
And I thought it was very informative. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I have to check it out.
You know, I hear that, not to get too deep into it, but the freight is very impactful down here, where they're like, there's freight for days type of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So you could just do your damn thing type of thing.
You can't do your damn thing. Everybody listen, don't do your damn thing. You come here, you check in with these other homies. Okay? Yards are regulated. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep them clean. You got to know the right people. Things can happen just like anywhere else. Be cool, you know? But there's lots of freights.
Okay.
Absolutely. And they're not just right here in Salt Lake. People expand. You know, they go out. They're around.
What is your biggest PP, like something that you should not do in the freight yard when you're in Salt Lake?
Just don't dirty it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, keep your shit clean.
Yeah, because I know that happened, similar situation on my side of town where like they started destroying the entrance. bombing the
Yeah,
entrance,
yeah.
rolling up the entrance,
Mm-hmm.
leaving stuff behind, doing things that weren't even graffiti related in there.
Same rule.
And
Yeah.
people started getting caught up and they started getting burnt out. And now you can't even go over there no more.
Exactly. Don't go there. It's not a party scene. You got
Yeah.
people going in there. Me, if I go in a freight yard, I mean, I paid my first freight in like probably 10 plus years, more than that, dude. Just recently, I went out with a few people from here, and I was being the loud one out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I got to check myself, dude. I forgot the rules. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I could tell people were feeling uncomfortable, even though I was the OG, older than everybody, except for one other dude, Strut, my man.
Shout out Struck, good man.
Yeah, Strut, Snipe, what's up? But they're just being kind to me. They're like, hey, at least he's out here painting. But I was being wild and loud, you know, and they still, but I had to check myself. It's like, all right. But yeah, keep your shit clean. Don't blow up the yard. Bottom line, keep quiet. Be stealth. Appreciate what you
Yeah.
got so you can have the longevity to run on for future generations.
You know, getting into like the conversation of like you guys should kind of like understand what's going on. Early on, did you have mentorship?
Absolutely. Yeah.
How much value did that bring to you? And for anybody out there that doesn't understand what mentorship, how impactful it could be to an upcomer, how impactful was a mentorship for you?
It still resides with me till
Yeah.
this day. You know what I'm saying? I still think about, I guess I had nobody necessarily, let me say this, not a mentorship where they're showing me exactly what to do, but just being around my homies and learning, because we're all basically, like I told you, all basically the same age.
Yeah.
Within at least 3 years.
Okay.
All basically the same age. I was the late bloomer, and just watching how they do stuff. I wouldn't say they mentored me. I was just there. I just watched, and I learned lessons.
Gotcha.
You know, I was never put underneath anybody else's wing because it's still fresh when I was coming up. You know, there's only a couple cats that are doing it maybe 3-4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Or 3, yeah. So it's not that big of a difference. I didn't have no big OGs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're all just learning it as we went,
Day by day,
day by day.
getting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was graffiti battling, any did you ever take part in that? Like, was that ever a thing? out
Not
here?
really.
No?
No. I never had any battles or anything. Not even crew shit. Not really. Every time there was a crew battle, I was probably not living here.
Okay.
But anything personal, no one had any personal beef with me.
Was battling big out here in Utah in the early
There's
days?
battles.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Was there like one of like a iconic battle type thing down here?
The most iconic battle, TM versus SADK.
Ooh.
So you had the Tag Banger kids that are from Ogden up north. That's like an hour up north from Salt Lake. And the SADK, which started like Glendale, which is like right next to my neighborhood in West Valley. So West Side kids. And then, which were actual like people that could piece.
Okay.
Do characters and plus tag the fuck up.
Ooh,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Everything. They were the most well-rounded crew ever. And so they did a battle and they had particular places where they were doing the battle. And one was on the 215.
Okay.
So there's certain freeways here. You got the I-15 that goes north and south, the I-80 that goes east and west. You have the 215 that loops the whole valley here.
Yeah.
And so that 215 battle was amazing because then you had TM on one side of the freeway.
Yeah.
Then you had SAD on one side of the freeway. TM, we were just doing tags, trying to do pieces. SAD, full colored burners,
Oh,
characters. And this is back like fucking, I think 93, 94
Okay.
maybe. You know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
long time ago.
Yeah.
And this is when graffiti was still fresh here. And so it was really wild, but SAD definitely took the cake on that.
Sounded like it was a massive battle.
Yeah. I mean, they shut it down after that. It's
Yeah.
like, what are you guys gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
It's a
There's been other little battles that I've seen, but nothing quite that impactful before or since.
Oh wow.
You know, it was that fucking
It was that impactful.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, as far as like yard space, like somewhere where you go paint, right? And yards and stuff like that. I know in LA early on they had a lot of iconic yard spaces where you go paint. Belmont Tunnel being one of them.
Yeah, been there.
Did you? Oh, you made it to Belmont Tunnel?
I'm from UTI crew, homie. Come on, you know I've been there. Yeah.
Did you guys have anything of that nature out here in Utah?
Yeah, there's certain yards out here.
Yeah, is there is there one iconic one that's probably not there no more that you can mention?
There's a few. I mean, a lot of people went to like the Raven's Nest. There's a Skull Hole. There was the Wasatch Walls. For me, that was about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, other people could tell you more, definitely, but I'm pulling up a blank because I didn't paint in those yards.
Gotcha.
I was always on the streets because I felt to be in those yards, to tell you the truth. I mean, I did paint the Wasatch Walls, and it was the worst thing ever. Super toy, dude. Keep it real.
You mentioned crews, bro. You know, being part of a crew could be interesting, right?
Yeah.
It could really be very
Difficult.
very interesting, difficult, very stressful. Was being part of a crew ever part of the journey for you? Is that something that you always wanted to do?
Oh, absolutely. I want to feel belong to.
Yeah.
Or feel like I belong to something.
Yeah.
Because being already an outsider and already in two different cultures that are outside cultures, I mean, I want to be definitely with my peers in part of that, you know?
Yeah.
So
How did that come about? Was it kind of like your local, you know, homies, and you guys they already had a crew and you joined type thing?
first, yeah, I started the first crew.
Yeah.
I started my own.
Okay.
You know? I won't say the first crew. The first crew I ever got in was KD, and that's a West Valley thing.
Okay.
But then I started my own crew, C&E, which is still repping. And but I got into ARS, which were like Scare, Erupt. Who else is part of that?
Heavy hitters
Chris.
from Utah.
Yes.
Yeah.
East Side Cats.
ARS.
Yeah, ARS.
What did that stand for?
Aerosols. Aerosols, yeah. Something corny, you know,
Yeah.
initially. You know what I'm saying? Of course, it has a lot of different names now. But that was, and Caro was part of that crew too.
Okay.
But yeah, I always want to be part of that. But then now I'm a crew whore. I'm in like 8 crews internationally, yeah. So, but I don't even. Nowadays, it doesn't mean as much to me to be part of a crew. It's all about the people in the crew. Once you get into like bigger crews, because I'm in Lords too, and
Okay.
you know, I don't know everybody in the whole crew.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, like the only crews that I really know everybody in, it's like my crew from Costa Rica, Modestos. You know, I know everybody
Okay.
from my crew, like personally.
How do you go about having a scenario? For example, let's say you're from, just to throw a name out there, let's say you're from our crew, but then you're also from T crew.
Yes.
So somebody in T crew doesn't get along with our crew, and they're kind of telling you like, "Hey, bro,
It's the worst.
You can't put up our crew no more.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
you can't hang out with the our crew guys no more."
Right.
How do you balance that out?
I've never had that situation because I've always been just the cool cat, kind of mellow and whatnot. Things erupt up, cool, I'm there.
Yeah.
But people have never really put me in that position they've never asked me to drop this or that. I was always the one trying to keep peace between the two and tell people why this person's okay and this person's okay too. And it never really panned out, but I never had to drop anything. I've dropped crews on my own.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I did it on my own. No one's ever told me to drop a crew. So,
You mentioned that you're from crews pretty much from all over the world, right?
yeah.
At what point did you start traveling out of Utah to start painting? I know you mentioned because of skating you ended up in San Francisco. But aside of San Francisco, where else did you branch out to start painting? I mean, was it for painting or was it still for skating?
It was just for living, dude.
Okay.
Every time I moved somewhere, it wasn't for any of that. It was just to live.
Okay.
You know, experience my own thing. You know,
Gotcha.
just being a street kid.
Yeah.
And I moved to Costa because, you know, I'm half Costa Rican. I moved to Costa Rica in 2001. And going out there was no graph scene at all. So I started painting out there. Then I see another person painting out there and one other person.
Okay.
And eventually we met up just on some street shit. There's no internet. We weren't fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, okay, you know, or you paint. It's like you can tell when somebody
Yeah.
paints back then. And so Soja from San Diego, BCX, part of that crew too. And my homie Chuck from Nicaragua. We're all living in Costa Rica at the same time, and we exploded the whole scene from there.
Oh, wow.
You know, we started that shit.
So you guys are like the godfathers of graffiti down there.
Definitely.
Ooh.
No doubt.
And they speak Spanish down there, right?
Sí, claro que sí, man. Tú sabes.
They were like, hey, mira este que anda acá. Like, then they were tripped out. Like, oh, shit, we got an American over here. Fucking.
Dude, nah. They really liked what we were doing out there.
Yeah?
You know what I'm saying? People accepted like that. The whole culture, like Latin, like culture, they love colors, dude.
Yeah.
They love expression. Like you go to like Costa Rica, every house is painted different. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's got their own flavor on things. They really accepted it. So my illegal graffiti was basically legal graffiti. It got co-signed by owners of houses. And we just started owning yards and
Yeah.
like in the parks and whatnot. Everybody was just joyous about it.
Because I don't think they have like law enforcement. They have more like soldiers type thing down there, right?
No, they don't have soldiers.
No?
That's the one country that doesn't have an army.
Oh.
Costa Rica.
So how does it? So if it's time to go to work,
Dude, no. Like anytime, like you have a problem with the cops, like they come, you talk to them. I bribed them off.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You just talk to them. That's the dope thing about there. I know how it is. Like right now, this instant. Well, last time I was there was January, and but there's no problem.
okay,
There's definitely no problem. They accept artwork.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They love it.
You know, now I'm sure that Costa Rica's graffiti culture has grown dramatically, right?
Yes, it's exploded.
Do you still
Huge.
get recognized for one of the first ones out there?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not trying to be like boastful or anything, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got the Godfather of Love. So does Soja. So does Chuck.
so you
You know
guys
what I'm
go
saying?
down there and it's kind of like, oh,
It's
shit,
ours.
this
Well,
is-
Soja's still living out there.
Oh, shit.
Chuck, you know, he's living in Nicaragua, Managua.
Yeah.
He goes back and forth all the time. We talk to each other. Me, Chuck, and Soja still heavy close homies.
how
You know
many
what I'm saying?
hours flight is it from here to there?
Oh, it's like fucking from here, Salt Lake, 6.
Oh, okay.
Of course, do a transfer, whether it be through Houston, Phoenix.
Also, it's not that bad.
No, it's nothing.
That's not that bad. I thought it was more like 13
No, we got to
hours.
go, homie. We
Hey,
got to go.
Costa Rica, I'm coming.
He's coming.
I'm coming, Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I don't trip. I know how to speak Spanish, so I get around.
Yeah, right. You know what's up.
They're not gonna think of. They're not gonna think of American. They're gonna think of something else.
Right? Samoan or something. I think you're Tongan.
You mentioned UTI, brother, and the Belmont Tunnel. Getting into the Belmont Tunnel, how was that for you?
Well, no, I didn't paint there.
Oh, okay.
I didn't paint there. I remember going there and man, I can't remember the homie. It's right where they built some apartments right there.
I think that is the
On
Belmont
top of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, on
the-
top of the Belmont. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I remember the homies were telling me because I was there with Thanks and Plek and P82. God, Nels. Rest
Yeah.
in peace, Nels.
Rest
That
in
was
peace.
his spot, you know what I'm saying? And so we went there and just partying. They took me back and showed me all the history that was there, and just showed me. I didn't literally paint there. If any assumption I did, no, but I know about that place. So
What was your impression of the graph out there when you got there?
it's heavy hitting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like fucking just seeing all that shit. Like, because I was kicking, of course, with the CBS, MTAs, UTIs, you know, and next level,
Nice.
of course.
You know, I see that Utah also has street art involved here, huh?
I guess so.
Yeah, I've seen it around. What is your take on that?
I'm fine with all art.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I used to, back in the days when I was a kid, I was a more purist. Like, you have to use a spray can. You know, if you're doing any type of stencil shit, whatever, I used to hate on it.
Yeah.
Definitely, you know. But no, I'm more mature. Just let people do their thing. As long as they're not going over pieces, you know what I'm saying, or going over tags, anything like that. All good, man. Art's art.
100%.
Rock yourself.
Yeah.
You know, express.
Everybody, moves different when it comes into the artistic views, right?
Yeah.
You got some guys that would come and see a full-on mural and just draw a happy face.
I know.
Or like,
yeah.
or like a big old nonsense, you know what I mean? It's kind of,
It's still going to happen, here and there. And that comes from ignorance.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But bottom line, as long as you don't go over, I don't go over anybody's stencil work. Or unless, let me say this, if it's a wall and I'm going to conquer it, it's the old rules.
Yeah.
A throwy goes over a tat.
Yeah.
A burner goes over a throwy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Production goes over everything. A roller goes over, dominates. You know what I'm saying? So those are the rules.
Okay.
So if I can't burn the next motherfucker, I ain't going to touch it.
For somebody that would watch this today and kind of be like, I want to do this now. I want to start painting. What would you say to that individual?
What's that? What did I say to them? It's difficult because you might not know people or know the rules of painting.
Yeah.
Like there's a subculture involved in this. There's definitely rules that we just talked about, right? And so if you don't know anybody, try to find somebody who knows. If not, go out there, get caught, maybe catch a lump, but learn, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't take it, don't stop.
Gotcha.
Bottom line, don't stop, keep going, but learn how to respect other people's art.
Gotcha.
Spaces, don't go out there wilding out where you're just scribing every church, you know what I'm saying, out there and whatnot. Know your time and place and know how you want to express yourself within that time and space.
Gotcha.
Sounds ethereal, but they'll get it.
100%.
Yeah, hopefully.
New York, being the guys that kind of developed the hip hop style graffiti. Early on, did any of those guys come across your path, or did any of their stuff influence you?
Oh, of course. Especially when I lived in New York. I lived in Brooklyn for a year. This is back in 99 to 2000. I lived out there in Brooklyn. And that's when I really caught on to their vibe. And it wasn't necessarily the old school cats I already respected, from Subway Art, of course, but Style Wars especially.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all involved. But seeing Revs and Cost, real time getting up, you know what I'm saying? They're actually one day that wasn't there, then all of a sudden you have this huge roller of Revs. It's wow, dude.
Yeah.
These guys are on a whole other level, and that influenced everything from there.
Gotcha.
As far as the throwaway game out there, I mean, there's some cats on the train. There's Scope and Nuke that were doing some good little mini pieces on rooftops that were dope. Ear Snot was getting up back then, and it was mostly just tags. Dope. Sace was getting up back then. Year, I thought he was an LA cat.
Yeah.
He was, right? Year? I don't know if he was, but he's living out there. I thought he was an LA cat. He had LA style. He had a touch
not
of
sure if he's
had a
from
touch
LA.
of LTS in him.
Yeah.
Not all the wild scratching, but that kind of violent style in him. And he was getting up heavy. That was dope, dude. Just to see that, walk past a place, then all of a sudden it's there the next day.
Yeah.
It's I don't know these motherfuckers. I wish I did. But I got up there too with this guy, Senk. He's from Queens. And that was a cool experience, living out there and getting down like that. And as far as being influenced by them more stylistically, I was more influenced by the application of how they're getting down, especially, let's say this, Revs, Cos, and Espo.
Okay.
During that time. Those guys were conquering.
And 2025, brother, what do you think keeps you motivated to keep going and not giving up as far as I'm still going to paint?
Just because I want to.
Yeah.
I mean, I have nobody really influences me nowadays. I just want to.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just want to revisit some. I just miss the feeling because I haven't done it for so long.
You said you took an 8-year break.
Mm-hmm.
How was it taking a break and then coming back to it?
It was cool.
Yeah.
Everybody came It was refreshing. Don't get me wrong, my can control, I felt a little shaky, a little intimidated.
Yeah.
Like straight up, dude. It's like, oh, I can't do a straight line. It's like, duh, shut up. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I felt a little nervous about my own skills again. But no, after I got over that, back in the water, swimming, and I just want to express more. I want to have more fun with it and not take it, because I took it serious where I was strictly doing art jobs for like 10, 12 years.
Okay.
I was a muralist for that long, then I dropped all that. And so it took the fun out of me being just a professional muralist.
Gotcha.
So
it's kind of like you still had that like behind your ear, like, hey, we're waiting for you.
well, dude, just seeing like always the most attractive thing to me, even though I'm more on the artsy side of the graffiti realm, the most attractive thing to me is just a well done throwy.
Gotcha.
A well placed tag, you know what I'm saying? Not even like a wild style burner. That's not even attractive to me.
Yeah.
Those things really make me, it's like, that's dope. And I'm not trying to do that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that is graph to me. I'm not a graph writer no more. Okay. If I do something illegal, sure, I'm a graph writer at that moment.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm not a graph writer. I'm now an artist who's influenced by graph, because most of the things I do, if I'm painting, it's legal walls.
Gotcha,
you know what I'm saying? Or paid murals.
Yeah.
Not the same thing. There's a definitive line.
Do you kind of keep your eye open to like the new products that are coming out? No.
No.
You already have your set to go type thing.
No, I'll try whatever out.
Yeah.
Like my man Perot, he put me on Loop, and my man Trek,
Yeah.
he put me on Loop, which is good paint. And what's the other one? Dang, pretty good paint too. So I'm not looking out, because I could still work with $1 can.
Yeah.
And a stock tip. I can make shit happen because I grew up in that generation.
Because I've been seeing a lot of stuff coming out. Like now they got this cap that you put on the can and it shoots like super huge.
Hey, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you get like, depending on how much you're writing, but like a couple big tags and the can's gone.
It's done, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is all good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm glad that graffiti's being more innovative as far as the products go and the tools. That's strictly awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't hate on that.
And it keeps to grow, right? It's good to see that it keeps to evolve.
For sure.
There's people still think outside the box of today, like 2025.
Absolutely.
I mean, you got people hanging from buildings. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Like ninja style.
Yeah. And all that. What do you call that when you're scaling down?
Yeah.
I like my man Trek. He just put me up on that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've been living in the hills, the mountains.
Yeah.
For like I told you, almost 8 years. And when I came back here, he's like, put me on game. It's like, whoa, this is what cats are into now? I'm like, all right, good for them. You know what I'm saying? But I fully support. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm already a cripple. You know what I'm saying? So,
but it's fun, and it's it's great to see that people are still out there taking it to that level, right?
Absolutely. I love the innovation.
Yeah.
I love to see still kids actually doing it.
Yeah,
it's super cool. Like here, it's more live than it's ever been.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I had a little thing I have to say. Before I came to this interview, I had to drive around downtown to see what's really going on so we could have this interview.
Yeah.
Like what's really popping in the streets, because I'm just hanging out with my mom. She's got cancer. I'm just taking care of her.
Yeah.
Strictly. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to see what's going on. I was like, damn, these kids are getting down, dude. Like more down than I remember it. Well, mid-90s, people were getting down. Then it died off. And there was a few people like holding it by a thread. And it's amazing. I'm glad to see people using the new tools that are happening.
Yeah, like I said early on, like driving into the city and just witnessing, I was like, man, it's alive out here.
Yeah.
Like,
right?
Like a lot of people would think that out here there ain't much, but it's alive.
Yes. More alive than it's been since the mid-90s, for sure.
Do you prefer seeing more of like a wild style, like multicolor arrows type or the background type thing? Is that what you kind of like prefer to see more as far as graffiti, or are you open to just a bomb?
I already told you. I like to see a fresh tag.
Yeah.
I like it all. Don't get me wrong. If somebody can do that in a legal space, more kudos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like as far as like a wild style burner, much more props. Because
Yeah.
that's what we used to do back in the day. Me and my man Ned, we used to do this thing when graffiti started dying down here, like around 96. Like a lot of people just stopped doing graffiti. There was only a few of us that were still around and not paying freights,
Yeah.
doing city work. Is me, Scout, Net, Show, Endure, rest in peace. And that was it in the city, actually doing work, you know. And so me and Net had this thing where we called it up the ante.
Okay.
So if there's a throwy in that space, next to it, we'll do fucking wild style or fucking makeshift production. My man Net could do a whole production with one can. He was insane, dude.
Oh, wow.
Like the weirdest, coolest, most advanced art I've ever seen. Not even graffiti, beyond graffiti.
Yeah.
But he was an actual raw bomber. You know what I'm saying? So as far as what I like to see now, if they can do all the frills, arrows, colors, and whatnot in legal space, dope. But I really like the throwy thing that all these kids are doing right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I really love it. And cool, clean tags. I love that stuff.
I think that's one of the most emotional parts of the culture, right? Where like you could have your road dogs, your childhood friends, or homies and whatever, right? While you're painting, not knowing that it's not gonna last forever, right?
Yeah,
Eventually, you're gonna lose a brother, you're gonna lose a friend,
for sure.
and I think that's one of the most emotional aspect of this culture. Like, you know, living these emotions and journeys with these people, and then having to let them go
Yeah,
as you get older because you know life takes them away from you.
yeah.
And-
Go ahead.
And
I'm sorry.
it's something that could be very hard to deal with, right?
I'm used to it.
Yeah,
Honestly, I congratulate them.
yeah,
And I'll see them on the other side.
gotcha.
Because I know this is not the end of life.
Yeah,
This is not just it. We got more. We came from something before. We're going to something else after. You know?
before we get out of here, brother, two last questions I got for you. Favorite sneaker you like to wear of all time while you're painting?
Let's say Air Maxes.
Air Maxes?
Straight up comfortable.
Sheesh. As long as the foot is breathing, we good.
Yeah. Got that little heel gel, you know?
If there's anything that you could bring to the culture in 2025, you have the power to, what would it be?
More positivity.
More positivity.
Yeah, because I'll talk shit on the young cat. But that's the thing, though. That's the thing. People, because I'm from an older school, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I come through with not a love and a kiss,
Yeah.
more like a fuck you and a diss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That lyric. You know what I'm saying? I'm that dude.
Okay.
And it's all love. You know what I'm saying? If I fucking diss you, I'm talking shit, that means I like you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't take it that way.
They take it
So
that-
I gotta PC up now. I gotta be more woke about how you fucking say shit because people get hurt. All these young cats are getting hurt about.
If he
me.
ain't
It's
talking
like,
smack to you, he don't like you.
yeah, no. If I'm talking smack, I means I love you, dude.
Yeah, gotcha.
Straight up, you know.
What can the world expect from you in the future?
More positivity.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Anybody that would like to check you out, where can they find you at, brother?
Can't find me nowhere, but just on the streets, personal. I don't do that social media, nothing.
Gotcha.
Cut.
Again, brother, I want to thank you for taking the time to sit here with me today
Thank
and
you.
conversate with me. I really enjoyed this. I really appreciate your time. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah, you too, homie.
Always, brother.
Pleasure.
Make sure to head over to gotnocontrol.com. Get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, and so much more. And if not, it's always free to like and subscribe. Just show us some love. And let us know what state you want to see us at next. We just did our very first tour, and we're coming back again. Hopefully mid of this year. So let us know what state should we hit, and who do you want to see on the podcast next. And with that being said, till next time, catch you on the next one. Peace.